Imagine pouring your heart into a dream with your closest friend, only to discover that the person you trusted most was secretly dismantling that dream behind your back. Today's story follows two friends who build a promising tech company together, until fear and ambition spark a devastating betrayal. Alex and Jordan met during their first year of university. Both were gifted programmers with a passion for environmental science and a shared vision: use artificial intelligence to fight climate change. They bonded over late-night hackathons, coffee-fueled debates about ethics and technology, and plans to do something that matters. Alex grew up in a middle-class family and hadn't seen a business up close. Jordan's father, however, had owned a startup that collapsed, leaving the family in debt. That history made Jordan both hungry for success and terrified of failure. After graduation, they launched a startup called GreenMind. The early days were rough, pitching investors in coffee shops, working from borrowed offices, eating ramen to stretch their savings. They rented a tiny co-working space and hired 2 interns to help gather data. They coded 12 hours a day, refining a machine learning model that could predict soil health from satellite images. Their perseverance paid off. A pilot project cut a farmer's costs by 20%, drawing media attention. Soon they secured $2 million in seed funding. Suddenly there were board meetings, salaries to pay, and growth targets to hit. Alex thrived under pressure. He believed that focusing on their mission would attract more investment. Jordan felt the weight differently. Every investor question triggered his memory of his father's failure. He began to worry that if GreenMind stumbled, he would lose everything. Tension mounted. Alex wanted to hire aggressively and expand into consumer gardening apps as suggested by investors. Jordan urged caution and insisted on detailed risk analyses. Their disagreements turned into arguments. While Alex was building partnerships, Jordan began taking private meetings with MacroGrow, a giant in agritech. MacroGrow dangled a tempting offer: sell them GreenMind's core algorithm, and they would appoint him head of research with a 7-figure salary and stock options. They framed it as a way to secure the technology's future if the startup faltered. Jordan rationalized that exploring the offer was smart, that maybe a buyout would protect them both. He kept the talk secret, telling himself he'd share the details when the time was right. Meanwhile, odd things started happening at GreenMind. Code snippets vanished from secure servers. Jordan missed sprint reviews, claiming emergencies. The DevOps lead noticed unusual data downloads at night. One evening, while debugging a critical module, Alex found a contract email left open on Jordan's computer. It detailed a complete transfer of GreenMind's intellectual property to MacroGrow. The signature lines were dated for the following morning. Alex felt sick. This wasn't just a business deal. It was the death of their shared dream and a personal betrayal. He confronted Jordan that night. At first, Jordan tried to justify himself. He said investors were pressuring them to exit. He said MacroGrow's offer would guarantee their technology survived. But as Alex pressed, Jordan admitted he was terrified of repeating his father's failure. He confessed he let fear override their partnership. Alex listened, hurt and furious. He called an emergency board meeting, alerted lawyers, and blocked the transfer. The scandal spooked investors. Funding dried up. GreenMind dissolved within months. Alex later joined another environmental startup, still bruised by the loss of his friend and dream. Jordan never joined MacroGrow. Once news of the attempted theft leaked, they withdrew the offer. He took a lower-profile job and, according to mutual acquaintances, regrets his decision. Why would someone sabotage their own creation and betray a friend? Psychologists use the term cognitive dissonance to describe the discomfort we feel when our actions clash with our beliefs. Jordan believed he was loyal to GreenMind's mission, yet his fear of failure pushed him toward an act that contradicted those values. To ease that tension, he invented rationalizations, telling himself that selling the algorithm would save the company, protect investors, or shield him from blame. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow also applies. The shadow is the hidden, often darker part of our personality. Envy, greed, insecurity that we rarely acknowledge. If we don't confront these impulses, they can drive us to act against our morals. Jordan's unacknowledged fear of financial ruin became his shadow. Ethical fading was another factor. Under intense pressure, People sometimes focus on hitting targets or avoiding losses so narrowly that they no longer see the moral dimension of their choices. Jordan was so fixated on reducing his personal risk that he viewed theft as a logical business strategy rather than a betrayal. Resolution and takeaways, 7:15 to 8 o'clock. The following morning, Alex and the board canceled the contract and terminated Jordan's access. The fallout destroyed GreenMind. Jordan never landed the promised job, and both friends lost the company they built. What can we learn? Success can test relationships even more than failure. Talk openly about fears and expectations. Unspoken anxieties can turn into secret deals. Understand your own biases. Recognizing cognitive dissonance and the shadow helps you catch yourself when fear or greed is distorting your judgment. Put safeguards in place. Clear contracts, ethical guidelines, and access controls won't eliminate betrayal, but they make it harder. Finally, remember that shortcuts have ripple effects. Jordan's decision didn't just hurt him and Alex. It harmed employees, investors, and farmers who relied on GreenMind's technology. Awareness of these consequences can deter unethical choices.